Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves. Thank you guys so much for being here. It is a wonderful day. Good morning to you. Let's see. Good morning to you, Dan. Good morning, Janet. Good morning, Lauren. It is fantastic to see you guys today. The question today of the day is, what project currently excites you? So yeah, what project currently excites you? It looks like Jan says that she's currently setting up a desk area in her space that she'll have a cute and convenient place to draw and write. How cool that is, Jan. I've talked to quite a few people who are creatives, and they've all said the same thing. They've all said that if you want to get something done, you have to set up the space for it. You have to prepare the space for it and just have it all set up. And be that drawing or writing, or actually in the case of Brenda Jean, good morning, Brenda Jean. In the case of Brenda Jean, for Brenda Jean, it's like fitness. I know that over at her house, she has all of her fitness stuff like set up and uh, and just good to go. So really, really smart thing to do, Jan. Set up your space and then let the creativity flow. Let's see here. Dan says he's excited about finishing up the time in Omaha, selling assets, moving mom to Georgia, getting home. That is awesome. I'm happy for you, Dan, and I hope that you are. I hope that you get home soon. I know that you got your mom pretty much set up over here, but I also understand it takes a while to get rid of the assets and turn them into something that's more appropriate for maintaining her and maintaining her in her life. Let's see. Brenda Jean says she's excited to go car shopping and actually own a new car. Yep, that is awesome, Brenda Jean. I'm excited for you too to own a new car. Ruthie has served you so well. She really has. But when it's time, it's time. And so, yeah, I'm excited for you to get yourself a new vehicle that is really suitable to what you need, to what your purposes are. So yeah, guys. So I have a whole bunch of the question of the day was born of my realization that I have a whole lot of projects, only 24 hours in a day to do them. But I'm really excited about the marketing agency that I'm setting up with some friends. I think that it is accelerating very, very quickly, and through their connections and through my connections, and I'm super stoked about it. For those of you guys who are on the Facebook group, I'll be posting about my newest marketing project here fairly shortly. One of my projects for today is basically to put the finishing touches on basically a product that when a business misses a call, it automatically sends a text back to the person who called, and basically just attempting to engage them, attempting to get them booked. And if they answer the call, if they answer the text message, artificial intelligence automatically scrapes that text messages, figures out what it is that they're trying to say, what it is they're communicating, and puts them into the correct sales funnel so that that lead can be nurtured properly. So it's a pretty cool thing. I'm very excited about doing it. And more importantly, I'm excited about helping my friends amplify their messages. So, ultimately, when it comes right down to it, I was thinking about what it is that I enjoy so much about marketing, and the reason is that it's a systematized way of helping people to amplify a message. And honestly, the fact is that I believe that there are many messages in this world that are worthy of amplification, and so I'd love to be one of the people who helps people amplify them. So yeah. So we are going to do the same thing we do every day this morning on these lives. I'm going to pull a card off the top of the deck. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card. We are going to respond out loud, I am that affirmation. As we do this out loud, we are building into ourselves. We are changing our own mindsets. We are creating new neural pathways. And more importantly, we are opening ourselves up to the possibility of things that perhaps we hadn't considered before. I love these cards for that reason. They always bring up a new positive adjective that I would love to have ascribed to myself, and yet that I wouldn't otherwise think of, except that it came up in the card. So, and of course, this week, and just like last week, we are working through the "You Are" series. So instead of saying "I am" on the cards, these cards say "You are." And the reason they say "you are" is because this world is full of "you are" messaging, but most of that "you are" messaging is not particularly powerful. It's not particularly empowering. It's powerful, but not in the right ways. It's not particularly empowering. And so I am putting out some empowering "you are" messages in the world for those people who are not yet ready to say or believe the words "I am." And of course, as I've explained this philosophy before, when I first started to get into self development, I truly did not believe that I was any of the things that I was saying about myself, or that other people were saying about me, or that people were writing in books about how I had to be. Truly did not believe it. But I said it anyways. But ultimately, I resonated more when with with books or articles or stories that were written with the "you are" verbiage rather than the "I am" verbiage. So let's have some fun today and be aware of who we are by looking at our daily reminder, which is that our daily reminder today is that you are authentic. You are authentic. You express your wholeness with compassion and candor. So you are authentic. You express your wholeness with compassion and candor. Are you authentic? You are authentic. You express your wholeness with compassion and candor. And I am going to write that in the comments right now, that I am authentic, that I express my wholeness with compassion and candor. And of course, a couple of you guys have already beaten me to it. I see that Eric popped on to the broadcast as well. Good morning, Eric. Good to see you here today. And I see there's a bunch of other folks who are waiting in the wings, who are watching this broadcast but haven't yet said hello. Do say hello to me. That way I know that you're here. I'd love to greet you personally and yeah, just love on you a little bit this morning. But anyway, you are authentic. You express your wholeness with compassion and candor. And authenticity, as we've mentioned before on this show, is truly a superpower because there is only one of you. There's only one person who can do what you can do in this world. There's only one person who can reach the people that you can reach. There's only one person who can love on the specific group of friends that you have, and that person is you. There's only one person with your dreams, and that person is you. And so when we are authentic, then we are most empowered. We are most in our power. When we are inauthentic, when we are attempting uh, to conform ourselves to the way that the people around us are, or the way that the people around us think, or when we are attempting to make ourselves small so that the people around us aren't going to be intimidated by our wholeness, then when we do that, then we are actually really hobbling ourselves. I remember that for a large part of my life that I was very much like wanting to just fit in, and I'm not a person who's ever fit in. I just haven't. The fact is that in most of my social situations, I have always been a bit of an outlier. It wasn't until I found my current community that I really found a group of people that I fit in with, which is funny because when I really think about it, I don't think that most of the folks around me fit in all that well with the world around them either. We just so happen to all fit in with each other, which is a wonderful thing. So I found my tribe. I found my group of folks, and but I was attempting to fit in, and I remember that I would change anything about myself in order to gain that social acceptance. And of course, did it get me social acceptance? Of course not. I remember when I was very young, when I was about 20-ish years old, 2021, that because I would hang out with my friend group, and my friend group were people who would go out to punk shows at dive bars and drink alcohol to excess, and so I just felt like that was the way that I needed to live, that's what I needed to do in order to fit in with the people around me. And so I would do the same thing. I would get I would go out to dive bars, and I would listen to punk rock, and I go to punk rock shows and in dirty dive bars. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, but it wasn't necessarily me. It wasn't necessarily who I was. And I remember getting into quite a bit of trouble because of that, because I just, first of all, I really didn't fit in, and second of all, I found myself in situations that I would have best not been in. I mean, the sort of places that dive bars are located, the sort of places that punk shows are located, can be pretty rough. And I am not a particularly rough person, and so ill-equipped to deal with that. Whereas my friends were. My acquaintances at the time absolutely were. And so, I mean, I remember that there were just many situations where I had to get out of Dodge pretty quickly, before the cops came because of just the craziness that was going down in my life. And so, and yeah, at the time, I thought that that's what I needed to be. I thought that, well, if I want to have friends, I got to go do the things that my friends do. And because I didn't know who I was, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just conforming myself to what all of my friends did. And when I discovered that I could just be myself, when I discovered that I could just be authentic and that I could be loved for who I am, and that I didn't need to do what everybody else around me did, that I could do my own thing, and that other people who liked the things that I liked would find me. They would, they would come and hang out with me. That your vibe attracts your tribe, as it were. When I discovered that, and most of my old friends fell away because we didn't have much in common anymore. And of course, it doesn't mean that I wish them any ill. I wish them well, and I hope that they're hanging out with other people who are enjoying them as much as and enjoy the things that they like to do as much as they do. But as I yeah, but as I discovered my own authenticity, and as I discovered who I am, and stopped judging myself, and really gave myself that compassion, then I was able to attract a whole different group of people, and life itself took on a different character. Now, for me, it took something fairly extreme to make that happen. For me, it took like leaving the country because I of how little that I liked myself at the time. But for me, it took leaving the country and putting myself in completely different situations. But that's not necessary. All that's necessary is an awareness about what parts of us that we like and what parts of ourselves that we don't like. And to really lean into the parts of ourselves that we like, to lean into the parts of ourselves that feel the best for us, and to make sure that the people that we're hanging around with are people who support and edify those parts of us. And whether they partake of those parts of us or not, at the very least, that they love those parts of us, that they love us for who we are. I am surrounded right now by a group of people who are so very different than me, and yet one of the things that makes my friend group so special is that even though we're all so very different from each other, there is one thing that unites us, which is that all of us are non-judgmental about the way that each of us lives our lives. Everybody around me is living a different life than me, and I'm happy for them for doing that, because I recognize that their hobbies and their passions, well, they belong to these people. They don't belong to me. And so I'm just happy that the people around me are living their passions, are doing their hobbies, are surrounding themselves with positive people, are working on projects that edify them, that and are doing things that make them happy. I love it, the fact that I'm surrounded by authentic people. I love it because I recognize my own authenticity, and the authentic people that I'm surrounded by are far less likely to judge me when I make some off the wall decision, because I do. Far less likely to judge me when I do something that is very different than what the world around me does, because the primary thing that unites us is not what makes us similar. What the primary thing that unites us is the fact that we are willing to be ourselves, that we are willing to be radically authentic, that we are willing to take the risks necessary so that we can get the rewards. And the reward is a fulfilling life. The reward for being authentic is a fulfilling life, because as we express our wholeness, not just the parts of ourselves, I felt for so long that there was like two Pauls, that there was the part of me that I showed the world, and then there was this other secret inner world that I was afraid to show anybody because I thought that it would be too much for them to handle. And when I started to let other people into my inner world, and when they accepted me for who I was, or when I found the tribe of people who accepted me for who I was, it was so liberating, because I recognized that I really could be myself, at least among my close friends, and that my close friends, whether they agreed with me or not, whether they liked the things I liked or not, whether they wanted to partake of the things that I wanted to partake of or not, I knew for a fact that they loved me, cared about me, supported me for who I am, and that they loved me for who I really am. I remember that I had a very formative experience about authenticity. I was up I was up on top of a mountain in Costa Rica, and about 10 or 15 people had all come to visit me. And these were people that were just kind of hanging around in Costa Rica, and they had all come up to the top of the mountain to see what it was like to be living up there. And I remember that there was a hotel owner that owned the property that I was staying on, and so he brought a bunch of his guests up, and we were basically up there just kind of having a party. And I recall distinctly that every single one of these people were different. There were hippies up there. There were Miami DJs up there. There were folks who were traveling on motorcycles around the world. There were some people who were taking a bread truck. They had modified a bread truck, and they were doing what was called the long way round. They were driving around the world, hitting every single country they were legally allowed to go into. So like Jordan and North Korea were basically the only two countries that they weren't going to. But they were taking this bread truck that they had modified on a 40,000-mile trip around the world, the long way round, they called it. And even though every one of these people had different dreams, different goals, different aspirations, wore different clothing, spoke in different accents, different languages, we were all united by the fact that we were just enjoying ourselves, sitting around a fire on top of a mountain in Costa Rica, telling our stories and reminiscing about the interesting stuff that had happened in our lives. And I remember that I was trying to fit in with everybody, and that it was impossible for me to do that because everybody was so different. And I realized in that moment that all the people around me were just being themselves, and I was excited for them, and I was happy for them, even though I didn't necessarily want to live their dreams. And that I was the only person who wasn't being myself. That the reason that I was confused was because I was trying to fit in with all of them all at the same time by being like all of them all at the same time. And it was in that moment that I decided that I was just going to be me, that I was just going to let my own weirdness hang out, that I was going to let my own freak flag fly, that I was going to just be myself and see what happened. And I was pleasantly surprised to discover that group of people just that it didn't faze them who I was. That telling them about my real dreams, about my real aspirations, that not couching my language in the terms that they were familiar with, or attempting to dress like they did, or attempting to have the same political ideologies as them, that even though we had disagreements, that still they loved and accepted me for who I was, and that they were excited for my journey, my path. I actually follow many of these people, and some of them have become world famous. Some of them have written books. Some of them do seminars. A lot of them have become very wealthy. Some of them are completely obscure and just hanging out doing their life wherever they are. We've all ended up in different places, and yet I feel this kindred connection with all of those people because of the fact that they were instrumental in helping me realize the power of my own authenticity. And so you are authentic. This is your daily reminder. You are authentic today. There is only one you, so express yourself. Express yourself, and then the people who are supportive of your expression, so long as you do it with compassion and candor, the people who are supportive of your expression are going to hang out with you, are going to gravitate toward you, and the people who are not as supportive of your expression, the people who are less supportive of you, are going to go find other people that they resonate more fully with. And in the end, everybody is going to win. I used to be so afraid of losing what small number of friends that I had because of for being authentic. But when I started to truly be authentic, I discovered hundreds of friends that I didn't know existed. So you are authentic today. I am authentic too. And let's express our wholeness with compassion and candor. So let's see what you guys have to say about that. Let's see here. So Lauren was talking about her project that she's working on herself, her mind, and her body. I believe that our mind is the first thing that we have to work on. We have to work on our mindset before we can work on our bodies. Our bodies are something that obey our mind. As Brenda Jean will tell you, if you move your body, it's easier to move your mind. And so the two things happen in conjunction with each other. But definitely, everything originates in our mind first. So we first have to have the idea that we are willing to move our body, or that the idea that moving our bodies is ultimately beneficial toward changing our minds. Let's see. Yeah. Eric says, good morning, family. One step forward today, One step is all it takes, Eric. Just have no 0 days. As long as we are moving one step forward, then we are winning. And that's all it takes. Let's see. So, Susan says, I'm very authentic. After doing classes on this for years, it helped me grow farther than I thought. Yeah, absolutely, Susan. And I've never heard you couch your opinion in anything other than authenticity. And speaking your mind is definitely something that you do. Dan says he's authentic. He'd make a lousy politician. Politicians are, for all of the bad reputation that they have, a good politician is an authentic person. A good politician is somebody who truly cares about their constituents. Now, of course, we all know that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But nevertheless, a lot of folks do get into politics because they have a very real desire to make life better for the folks around them, and it's certainly a thankless chore. I mean, no matter what choice you make as a politician, half the people and half your constituents are going to hate your guts for it. And so I've always had at least that little bit of compassion for politicians, even as I haven't met one yet that completely agreed with me. But ultimately, they represent a lot of different people. Let's see. Good morning, Kelly. Good to see you here today. Janet's talking about having always been different, thankful that she's made it this far in her personal journey to appreciate this about herself, allows her to feel the love from others who choose to appreciate her, and allows her to better appreciate others. What a powerful thought about authenticity. And let's see here. So I want to say thank you guys so much for being here and hanging out with me today. It is absolutely wonderful to always gather together today for this purpose, for this intentional purpose of really affirming these powerful things about ourselves. So, as we go through our day today, just remember that you are authentic. You're going to have opportunities for authenticity today. You're also going to have opportunities where it's prudent to be, to choose exactly how much of yourself that you share. So share yourself prudently. Share yourself with the people who are most likely to accept you for who you are. And even just remember that even if you have to put on a mask, perhaps you have to put on a mask to be in a corporate job or to be out in the world or to be out there doing things. Even if you have to not express the totality of yourself, just understand that the love that you have inside of yourself, the love that you have for the people around you, it really extends even through the roles that we play, the costumes that we put on in life. I have lots of different roles that I play in life, and I have to be a lot of different people. And yet, underneath of it all is this underlying feeling that I love the people that I'm around, that I support the people I'm around, that I desire for their success. I desire for them to be, I desire for them to be as integrated as I am, and that I recognize when they are. I recognize when the people around me are doing life better than me, and I'm excited to learn from them about that. I'm excited to learn and grow, because that's also a part of my authenticity, is a curiosity about the way other people do life. I do not believe that I am the only person that I have some monopoly on the best way to live. I don't believe that at all. I believe that I have discovered some small amount of how to do life, and that my goal is to share that with other people and to also learn from and copy from people who have already learned the things that I have not yet learned. So I am authentic today. You are authentic too. So let's be authentic together. Let's go live our best lives, full of authenticity, full of love for ourselves, full of love for others. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Yet we will be back with yet another one of these cards. Until then, this is your daily reminder that you're worth it, that you can do it, that I love you and appreciate you, that I care about you, and that I believe everything that I say about you. You guys come here for a reason, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you to those who share this message. Thank you to those who really are just here commenting on it and encouraging me to go on. You guys are amazing, and I will talk to you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Until then, aloha from paradise.